Cool.
Okay, sorry
Skill number two,
for
just want to do that
some
again.
problem.
To show that your next, as I mentioned, your next attack gains a 70% buff. Skill number 5. Now this is another, like a lot goes on here, but this is also another little skill that also buffs a lot of your stats. So this, like I said, there's a lot going on here. So it buffs your overall attack while also making you invisible for a short period of time.
Nice.
Not invisible, it's actually more invisible. I think like I said, because this is the test build, some of the stats may be a little bit different. But also it gains, as it's similar to the other skill, this actually gives you a 55% buff to your all attack stat for the next 10 seconds. That is
I
skill
like
number
that
5.
little frozen time effect.
And that is skill number 5, which is the final glaive. Now there is another skill which you can all see. It's what we refer to as an awakening skill, but we're actually not going to show that just yet. We're going to show that for a little bit later. But the name of that skill is actually called the Loyal Strike, and we will show that a little bit later.
Okay, I am intrigued.
That does it for Corvus Glaive stat. And we're going to go ahead and move on to his brother, Black Dwarf. So what can you tell us about Black Dwarf?
Well, Black Dwarf is the brother of Corvus Glaive. He is a member of the Black Order with super strength, enhanced density, and impenetrable skin. He is often considered the muscle of the group, though maybe that's not all that he's about.
No, he's actually one of my favorite. I gotta say, one of my favorite of the. This is, I think, is in relation to.
We'll get to it.
Yeah, we'll get to it later. You do ask that. You do ask that question later on.
Yeah, come on, all at once.
So, similar to Corvus, he actually has a little bit of a different stat as well. He's actually listed as a combat supervillain with the use of the uniform. Some changes done to his that come with this uniform, such as his Dwarf Charge, Blind Rage, and Numb the Pain. For example, for the Dwarf Charge, see what I have here. He keeps the stun. He does still keep the stun and guard break immunity, but the only difference is all his Black Order allies receive a decreased damage receive decreased damage when having dealt with reflected attacks. In addition to also all his Black Order allies also receive a stun and guard break immunity. For his Blind Rage, which is his T2 skill, when HP is below 90%, he gains a percentage of it back. Not only that, his skill damage and bonus damage actually increased by 35%. Then lastly, for his Numb the Pain skill, all allies have a 50% chance when hit to receive a 100% chance for physical damage immunity for a brief time. So there you have it. So now for passive, let's see the actual skills.
Yeah.
Whoa, what an entrance.
All right, let's go. Basic attack. Little swing, little hack, nothing. Next up is the skill number 1, which is the Axe Quake. Move on to these guys over here.
Nice.
Now, if you notice, if you take a real close look in the background, so not only do enemies get stunned, you see the axe little travel off a little way in the distance there. Let's see if we can.
Is that what that is? Do it again.
So take a look at the enemies behind this guy. Boom, and you can see, the enemies in the back. They got stunned pretty hard too. So this is a good skill.
All right, you gotta plan your lines.
Yeah, this is skill number 2, which is the Endless Pursuit. Let's try it again. He slams he slams the axe on the ground, then uses his hand to bring up the rest of the debris, then hack it towards his enemies. It's another brutal physical attack. That's what he's all about.
Is he though?
No, there is more to him, but we'll go into that later on. This is skill number 3, which will require me to explain a little bit more for this. This is the Black Whirlwind. So as of course you can see, of course it does bleed. Let's take a look at it one more time. Yeah, so this does bleed for every 1 second people are caught in. So the reason why I mentioned it, because you actually push and hold this skill. He's just going to keep going a little bit.
Whoa.
So again, this is a test, but don't believe he's going to be going that long with this skill. But anyway, this is something you would definitely want to keep in mind to use, because this attack also increases your overall attack and defense and critical rate stats by up to 35%. Also buffs your speed to a certain extent. And of course, it just does a lot of brutal physical damage. Moving on to skill number 4, we have Hunt of Darkness.
Okay, I'm listening.
Get more range here. Let's take a look. As you can see, Friendly face kind of helps him out.
Now just
Yeah.
just
Quote
come to
unquote
help.
friendly face. Ebony Maw actually guest spots and actually helps to deal a little bit of damage there.
Okay.
So it's actually
Look out, it's Ebony Maw.
So not only so this little buff briefly actually increases your max HP and also increase your all attack by 40%.
I like
That's
how
skill
you
number
said
4.
it's kind of a friendly face.
Kind of friendly.
With
Well,
Ebony
it's
Maw.
Ebony Maw. I mean, it's
You know, you never know with him.
yeah, we'll go more with that later. We're going to go ahead and move on to skill number 5, which is the Wrathful Massacres. I'm actually going to reset this a little bit because everybody ends up getting spaced out a bit. So I'm just going to go ahead and just whatever it is, what it is. We're going to go ahead and move on to skill number 5.
Whoa. Whoa.
And you can see a lot goes on there.
There's a lot going on.
Not bad.
Let's take it one more time there in the corners. Let's go ahead and see how it looks. So this really just fantastic attack. Not only binds enemies together, it stuns them while also causing paralysis, ignoring your enemy's defense by up to 40%, with a chance to penetrate their defense. And not only that, also it accumulates true damage. So just get good. Just if you want to get that in there, just do that.
Very nice.
And I have a couple of helpful notes from the dev.
Mm-hmm.
So to mention, I'm just going to move on to those guys have had enough. Let's go ahead and move on to these guys over here. So some helpful notes from the dev. They mentioned, and they quote, even if skill 4 is cancelled, he still fires his attack. So link other skills after using skill 4. Next, after obtaining the buff from skill 4, press and hold skill 3 to move about using the controls. Let's go ahead and actually test that out. Get that buff, and then we're just going to go ahead and just start swinging. Brutal. And that's it for that. As far as his, of course, he also has an awakened skill. Both Corvus and Black Dwarf have an awakened skill. This awakened skill is referred to as the Culling Slice. But again, we're going to hold off on that for just a little bit because we want to show you the next character, and that's when we'll reveal what
Come
the
on.
book is for the Awakening.
Okay, I see what you're doing here.
We'll see.
Okay.
All right, now we get to move on
No
to
awakening.
one many players are definitely
Wow.
a fan of because it's been years since this character has received
And now
an
it's
update.
back. Those
And
3 characters got
we're
awakening.
glad we're happy, and I'm definitely
now
happy
it's
that we're
back.
finally revealing Supergiant
Oh.
has a new uniform. So,
That's right.
Kim, what can you tell us about Supergiant?
Well, Supergiant is the telepath of the team, and she can mind control anyone and feed on their intellect. Despite her name, she is not a giant.
So we're going to go ahead and
This
move
team is
into,
not
again, this is
bad.
another character that has 6 skills, but again, this character actually does remain as a universal supervillain. So some of the effects that come with her passive uniform, let's see, we'll go ahead and start off with the mind over matter. So her all resistance and guaranteed dodge rate is actually, I'm sorry, some of these notes are actually still incorrect. Her all resistance is increased, but also not only that, her guaranteed dodge rate
So
also
those 3 got
is
awakening
increased as
skill
well.
and
Her
TC
dark
plus
silence,
9.
when hit, she briefly gains a 75%
How
invisibility
about
to
Ebony Maw?
basically allow her to ignore targeting. Not only
The
that,
upcoming
another perk that
T3?
comes with it is that
Oh,
her ignore defense
maybe.
and target dodge rate are increased by 25%, with a 50% chance to penetrate shields. That said, we're going to go ahead and take a look at her actual skills.
Okay.
Okay, open up their basic attack. So you can moves up to get 2 enemies in one. Take a look at skill number 1, which is the Soul Explosion.
That's pretty good for skill 1.
Good, just another stunning attack. So another thing to keep in mind, this actually does stun and mind damage.
Just
The
not
focus
bad.
of her
Just
attacks
skill
mainly
number
is
1.
mind damage. So she's a good character for those of you who are mind users out there. This is skill number 2. This is the Ritual of Extinction. So I'm going to say this one more time, see if you recognize anybody. It happens pretty quick, but as you can see there, Proxima actually makes a little guest appearance as well.
She is fast.
Not bad.
Oh, okay, I got her that time.
Okay, yeah, so you can see it's another mind damage attack. Also, it causes
The
stun at
skill
the
looks
very
cool.
end.
Yeah.
So anybody who's
cool.
caught in there is definitely going to be not going to be having a great time. Skill number 3. This is Eternal Rule. Now this what makes this attack a little bit great is that this actually does briefly mind controls your enemies.
Yeah.
Now at 75% of your next
Got
attack
mind
is
control
increased. Your next attack will
for 2
gain a
seconds.
75%
Or 1 second.
increase in damage.
Nah, 5 seconds.
There you go. Moving on to skill number 4.
But when the skill is finished,
Now, who's that?
Ooh.
it have
Now, this is similar to in our
around
previous
1 or 2
uniform. Black
seconds
Bolt
left.
also made an appearance. I'm going to go ahead and move over here.
Whoa!
This
Wow,
skill number
Black
4
Bolt
is called
come
Puppet
to help.
Control. So similar to the Puppeteer skill, which summons the Black Bolt in her previous uniform, or Mind Control Black Bolt. This attack causes a paralysis while also decreasing your enemy's defense, while your skill and bonus damage gain a 50%.
This might come from the comic. Yeah?
Nice.
Take a look at
Love
it one
that
more time.
tortured
Wait,
look on his
let's
face.
see. It's kind of dark obsidian or more.
Now we're going to move on to skill number 5. You notice,
Well, we
now,
got
you notice there's like a lot
here,
going on here as well. You can see these different little figures that are moving about. You can do this little skill on everyone over here as well. This skill, as you can already tell, it does a little bit of silence. And also, I believe last time checked, it was movable. Let me check.
Not bad.
Yeah, so this skill is movable as well. And anybody actually caught within your range, actually, as you can already see, is silenced.
Because they're so scared.
Nah.
I assume.
Yes, movable attack with AoE while also recovering HP and
Not bad.
bumping your overall stats. Now, we've teased it long enough. You guys you know what you want to see. You guys want to see the Awakening skill. So her Awakening skill is referred to as the Psionic Decimation. So without further ado, let's go ahead and check it out.
Ooh.
So, wow.
Right.
Wow.
So I'm going to do this attack one more time, and I'll go ahead and explain a little bit what's going on. So as you can see here, so she summons
Okay,
her
so
other
the
fellow
skill
members of the
animation
Black
is
Order,
the
such as
same
Black Dwarf and
from
Corvus,
Corvus,
to deal a
sorry.
variety of damage,
Yeah,
such as
Corvus
bleed,
Cleo
mind
and
control, while
Proximami,
of course
sorry,
accumulating true damage,
Black Dwarf,
and also regardless of your enemy's
Supergiant.
defense and dodge rate. There's a variety of different stats that come in as well, but of
So
course the key
all
thing in there
three
is
got
that
Awakening skill.
one of the founding members of the
T3
Black Order
Proximami 9
makes
and
an appearance
fewer.
as well, just gives
Mid-man
that
will
final
be
little final blow,
Ebony
which is
Mount.
Mankind
T3.
himself, Thanos, as he does that snap. Whatever's that?
We get a snap? That's great.
So a little tip from the Dead Notes I'm going to be
Not
quoting
bad.
here. So skills 2, 4, and 5 continue to
Raining
damage even if
outside.
you cancel and link them with other skills. So it is recommended to use skills 2, 4, and 5 first, and then link them to skills 3, or use the ultimate skill afterwards. Yeah. So thank you for that, Devs.
Very good.
So that does it for the Awakening characters. So the characters that gain an Awakening in this outfit, the Dark Obsidian uniform, are Corvus Glaive, Black Dwarf, and of course Supergiant. Now, of course, we do have one more.
There's
one-
more.
Yes, of course, there's one more left.
Yes.
We're going to go ahead and move on to the
Come
one.
on,
Bring 'em out.
Ebony Mount.
We place it in Y and C, and move on to Proxima Midnight.
Okay,
The
so
more
we got
details about
we just saw Proxima
Proxima
Midnight
Midnight
first.
has an incredible headdress.
Oh my
But
god.
there's more to her than that. She is a master of hand-to-hand combat with super strength and a high degree of imperviousness to injury. Her lance transforms into an unavoidable toxic light beam. I think she's the strongest warrior of the team myself.
Definitely power and definitely got quite the upgrade because, of course,
It
she
still
received a
look
little
great,
special skill. Now, she also still remains as a universal supervillain. A lot of her